Thanks, Mark. Appreciate everybody being here. It's an exciting time, obviously, for everybody starting fall camp here in the next few days. But, you know, about our team, I thought we had a really good winter workout session there prior to spring practice. I thought we accomplished a lot of things that we set out to accomplish during spring practice that we needed to improve on. And then I've been really impressed this summer with our guys and how hard they've worked, how hard they've competed. I love the attitude of this team right now. I love the character of this team. I think there's some guys that are really, really hungry to have a really good season this year. I like the leadership of our team. I think we've got better leadership at every position than we did last year. At this time, I've got some question marks about our corners and the wide receiver position. So those two guys or those two groups have got to step up here these next 2 or 3 weeks in August. But I really like this team. It's a tremendously hard-working team and a fun group of guys to be around. We start Thursday. Wednesday we report, and then Thursday's our first practice. So anxious to get started with it. With that, I'll open up to questions.
Coach Stock, Aldo Mato, D&J. The quarterback position is still yet to be determined about who's starting. Is that more of a sign that Brent has progressed or Austin has regressed?
Well, no, I said that, first of all, let me say this. I feel a heck of a lot better about the quarterback position right now this time than I did last year at this time. Austin played last year. I thought he did some good things. He did some things that obviously he's got to improve on. I think Brent has been in the system now 2 years. I thought he had a really good spring. I think he's had a great summer. He's worked extremely hard. I believe that both of them are good enough to win with, and I'm not in a hurry to make a decision. They both may play a bunch every game. Like I said down there in the Conference USA meetings, but I've got confidence in both of them, and I want to see them compete. I want to watch them compete this August and see how they progress. You don't need to name a starter in August. I mean, or August 2nd, whatever it is. We don't play till September 5th, so I've got plenty of time to make that decision. I've got concerns at a lot of other positions as much as, or probably more so than I do at quarterback. So I know quarterback is the focal point. Everybody wants to talk about that, but we're just going to let this thing play out. But to answer your question, Brent has improved and Austin has not degressed. You know, so I'm just looking forward to both of those guys competing this August.
You go up against 2 SEC teams this season. Conference USA opponents last year gave up 200 to 300-yard rushing games. What is your message to your defense this year, especially with so much focus on the secondary? What is your message to your defensive players up front when taking on the SEC opponents like Vanderbilt and Alabama?
Yeah, I'll worry about Vanderbilt and Alabama and all that. We'll worry about them later. The thing we wanted to improve this spring defensively. We wanted to improve tackling, and we did that. We wanted to improve on giving up fewer explosive plays, and we did that, and we'll continue to do that. We've got great coaches on our defensive staff. Tyrone does a great job. Steve and Tommy and David, those guys do a great job. We've got good players on defense. When you give up a lot of yards rushing, it's usually missed tackles are probably a big part of it. And we missed more tackles last year than we did the year before. So we've got to be better tacklers this year, and we will be. Our coaches have worked extremely hard in those areas, and we've improved fundamentally. And so I don't have any doubts that we'll be a better defense this year than we were last year.
You're going to have some movement on the offensive line this year. Is that one of the with Darius moving to guard and you're breaking in a couple new tackles? What are you going into this season or this camp focusing on the most on the offensive line?
Well, to me, I like our offensive line. Yeah, we lost Isaiah Anderson last year at right tackle, who was seemed like he started for 5 or 6 years. Was a really good player for us, and so we lost him. We're replacing him with Marquise Shakur, a junior college tackle who we redshirted, who was in the system last year, had a really good spring. Isaiah would get to, on a good day, might get to 270. Shakur is going to be at 300 on a bad day, and so we're bigger there. We've moved Darius inside to guard because I thought we probably struggled more inside at the guard position last year than we did anywhere. One of the reasons was we had some guys hurt inside. We lost some guys injuries. But we didn't have that push. We didn't have that bigger body in there like we had the year before, the couple years before when Josh Walker was there. So we thought moving Darius in would give us a little bit more size, a little bit more strength, a little bit more girth inside there, and it has. Darius did a nice job. He's still learning the position, but he's done an extremely good job there, in the limited time he's been there at guard. Moving Carlos Johnson, now he's at left tackle, which he was a backup there. He never played. He was redshirted. He's a really, really good athlete. He just has to be more consistent. And that's going to take time. The only way you can gain that consistency is with playing the game and getting reps, and he'll get that. One of the good things about him being at left tackle is he's got Darius right next to him, who's played the position there for 3 years, that he can help in the communication process. So I really like our offensive line. There's experience up front. Josh Chester, had a good year last year. He's had a good spring, a really good summer. I think he's in probably as good a shape. You can ask him. He's probably in as good a shape as he's ever been. We've got some depth. Hunter Rogers, there at right tackle. We got some guys that have played. Hunter played the last game, or at least half of the last game last year when Isaiah got hurt. So we got some guys. If we can stay healthy, we've got more depth, more experienced depth than we've had in a while in the offensive line. So the offensive line is kind of like the secondary. You've got to be able to communicate. You've got to be cohesive. You'd like to play the same guys together as much as you can. But I like our offensive line. I like their tenacity. I like the nastiness. I like the aggressiveness. I like the toughness that we have in the offensive line if we can stay healthy there.
Coach Connor Grott with Go Blue Raiders. Kind of going off what you said about the senior leadership at the wide receiver position, you bring in Coach Burns to work with those guys. How vital is he going to be going into camp with these wide receivers?
Well, I guess I didn't necessarily mean senior leadership, because I don't believe that the only leadership you have is your seniors. I want freshmen to be leaders. I want sophomores, juniors, and seniors to be leaders, and that's why we do game captains, because I want to have more people involved in a leadership role. And we don't have much experience. We've got 2 seniors, CC and Ed. And then everybody else, some have played a little bit, some haven't played at all. And what I meant about, Ed has got to assume a leadership role. CC's got to assume, Richie James, all those guys, if you ask me today who's the leader of the receiver group, we don't have one. And that's what I meant. Somebody's got to step up, whether it's a senior, whether it's a freshman, whether it's a redshirt freshman. But we've got to develop some leadership in that group. I'm extremely happy about Cody. I think he's a huge improvement, addition to this staff. He's a great communicator. He communicates well in the staff room. He communicates well with the players, the receivers, and other players that he's involved with. So I think Cody is going to be a really, really positive part of our staff and improvement of our staff.
Coach, is this year's schedule especially exciting when you think about Bama, Illinois, Western, Vandy at home?
No.
Come on. Big opportunities, big challenges, big opportunities.
I love our schedule, but all this Alabama talk, all this Vandy talk, Illinois, I mean, that's out there. I understand it, but, and I know it's coach speak, cliche stuff and all that. But all I'm worried about right now is our team in these next 3 weeks of practice. I'm worried about our team becoming as good as we can, reaching their potential. Then we'll worry about Jackson State. And believe me, all this, I spoke at the Rotary Club, and everybody said last week, and everybody says, hey, Coach, I got my tickets to Alabama and all that. I could care less. I don't care about that. Come to that Jackson State game. That's what I want. Fill up Floyd Stadium and don't worry about Denny Stadium. But, I focus on the moment. And right now, and I'm not trying to, I know it's coach talk, but my focus right now is 3 weeks of camp and getting this team ready to play Jackson State and then the remainder of our schedule. But you are right. We got a lot of neat places to go when we go to Alabama and Illinois. Never been there before. Went to Alabama when I was at South Carolina. But these players haven't. So, it'll be a good opportunity for us when those opportunities get here.
Kind of going down the schedule, those home games are going to be pretty crucial this season. You've challenged the fan base before saying, get to Floyd, we need fans in the seats. Is there a more considered effort to have more fans in the seats this year than ever before?
I don't think so. My message is the same. I encourage our fans, our students. You're going to see good football team, a good football game. You're going to see a team that competes its tail off every snap of the game. Probably not going to win them all. The goal is to win them all. But I know you'll walk out of that stadium, win or lose, and say, man, they played hard. They played it the right way. They played with great effort and passion and toughness and all those things. So my message is the same. I don't know why you wouldn't come. If you live in Murfreesboro and maybe you didn't go to MTSU, and that's okay. But if you don't go support the school you went to, this is your home team. This is your hometown. You should be here watching it and supporting us, and our students should do the same. This is their school. They should be here watching us play and supporting us. And I say it every year, and I'll say it next year too. So my message hadn't changed.
Coach, you're picked third in the East this year. What has been the thing you've been most impressed about in the transition to Conference USA, and what's one thing that you've been disappointed about as this team moves forward in the conference?
There's nothing I don't like about Conference USA. I think it's a very well-organized, professionally run conference, the leadership at the top, and I know Britton is leaving, but Alfred White, those guys at the top do a phenomenal job. It's every detail is covered in our meetings. There's great TV packages. There's great bowl packages. There are great bowl destinations. The officiating is top notch. I mean, I can't think of anything negative to say about it. It's You know, our brand is spread pretty wide. You know, we go from, you know, Virginia, I guess, with Old Dominion down over to UTEP. So we cover a lot of the South. We get a lot of exposure. You know, so I really like Conference USA. It's an honor to be a part of it. Not sure I understand. I guess, you know, we're picked third. That doesn't mean anything. You know, preseason is what it is, whether it's an individual accolade or a team prediction. You know, you got to go out on the field and earn it if you're a preseason guy, you know, or if you're picked third. So we're picked third. So what are we going to do? All right, boys, let's pack it up. We came in third. Let's wait till next year. Maybe we'll be picked something else. So it doesn't mean a thing to me. I don't blink at it. I don't worry about it. It's what it is. It's just something to cover the month of July before NFL camps start and August before colleges start. So I don't put a whole lot of stock in it.
Coach, how about the trifecta at running back, 1, 5, and 6? 5 and 6 are both seniors. Bryson's one of them. What about those guys and what you're looking for from them?
You know, I really feel good about our running backs. You know, we lost a great one last year in Reggie Watley. But last year, all those guys were coming off offseason injuries. All those guys didn't go through spring practice. They'll tell you that they're fine, that they were 100%, but I don't think any of them, Shane, Jordan, Jeremiah, I don't think any of those guys were 100% during the season last year. This year, I do. They all went through spring practice. They all went through our off-season conditioning. They've all done a great job this summer. So I really feel good about their health standpoint. I think they're a very unselfish group. They're very selfless. They care about the team, and that's all they care about. And so I'm excited about it. I think all of them, Jeremiah and Jordan being seniors, I hope they have the best years, you know, of their career this year. Shane, same thing. They're all three going to play a bunch. You know, they're all are really, really good running backs. And I'm anxious. I'm hopeful that this is a special year for those guys.
Coach, you got a handful of guys on this team who have been named by some of the preseason publications as future NFL draft picks. Obviously, that's a great thing to have that talent level on your team. However, does this pose a potential problem with focus for those players?
You know, that's always when players have individual agendas, when they have individual agendas or selfish agendas, it can be a detriment to your team. But I can promise you, everybody, KB, Darius, TT, whoever these seniors are, you know, that are seniors, Xavier, all Quay, Cavellis, all these guys, all our senior class, yeah, everybody has dreams and aspirations of playing one day in the NFL. Not everybody can, but I can promise you, KB and Darius and TT and Luck and Quay and Xavier, all these guys, all they want to do is help Middle Tennessee be the best team. Let's have the best team we can have this year. And I'll tell them that, you know, every day you go out on that field, it's an interview with the NFL. They watch everything you do. They watch how hard you play, how you execute, how good you play, all that. So you've got to play well. If you don't play hard and you think, well, I'm not going to play hard because I'm thinking about the NFL, it's going to show up, and you won't have that opportunity to play in the NFL. And I've told you guys this probably before, got to sign in our locker room. You know, do you get satisfaction out of your teammates' success? And that means you're putting your team in front of you. And every one of those guys, KB, TT, Darius, Luck, Quay, Xavier, you know, Ed, CC, Jordan, Jeremiah, they want their teammates to have success. And so I'm not worried about it 1 second. I'm not distracted by it 1 second. And if it shows up, they won't be out there playing. If they start playing for themselves and not for Middle Tennessee in that locker room, they're not going to be out there playing. So it never crosses my mind because I know what kind of men those guys are. I know the character of those guys. And that's why I said earlier, I like the attitude. I like the character of this team. And TT and Darius and KB will be up here, and they'll tell you, I want to win for Middle Tennessee. And if we win, then KB and TT, we'll get ours.
Coach, I imagine there are some, if not a lot, of students kind of depressed that the summer's kind of over as they make their way back to campus. As the football coach here, your break's over. How do you view the end of summer, so to speak?
Yeah, there's certain parts of the summer that I really, really enjoy. There's not as many classes, so you don't have to worry about those emails that TT was 5 minutes late for class or something like that. I know when we start school, I'll start getting more of that stuff. But as a coach, this is my passion. I love coaching. This is what you love to do. And, went to the Titans last week and watched them, and just watching somebody else practice, it gets your juices going. It gets your emotions going. You start thinking about everything. So I really, really, this is, as a coach, you love August probably as much as anything because there's no distractions. It's all football. It's like you're an NFL coach that, you're not worried about, scheduling this practice around this guy's class schedule, or you're not worried about, this or that. It's a fun time. It's an exciting time. This will be my 34th year coaching in college. So that passion, that excitement never ends. I was talking yesterday that, I still get butterflies, as you come into August. You still get nervous like the first time when you were a freshman, the first time you went out there, the first time you were a coach. You still get those butterflies, the excitement of, because we play a great game. We're involved in a great profession, and it's an opportunity to help young men, reach all their goals both on and off the field.
What kind of impact has Jason Spray and his staff really had over the summer in getting those guys in the weight room and getting them ready for camp coming up on Thursday?
They changed the rules, NCAA rules, last year, so this was the second year that we could make it mandatory. Players had to work out. You could discipline them if they didn't. Years prior, it was all voluntary. Our guys have done a phenomenal job. If you went and looked at, nobody missed. We didn't have guys missing workouts, and Jason and his staff do a phenomenal job. I think Jason is the best in the country, and I'm not saying that because he's here with us. But he does a great job of relating to players, of motivating players, to pushing players, driving them, to do one more curl when you don't think you can do one more curl. And it's a grind. June and July is a grind for our players. We have two groups. This group comes at one time. The next group, Jason's going 2-a-days. That staff's going 2-a-days. They got to bring the same energy, the same enthusiasm, the same emotion, for both those days. And that's a grind. That's hard. And he's done a great job. I'm glad he's here. I know our players appreciate him. Our players have made great gains, both strength-wise. We're in great shape. We'll report Saturday. Now we just got to get in football shape. There's that, you're banging on somebody now. We got to get that. But our guys are in great shape, and it's a credit to them, our players, how hard they've worked. But it's also Jason and Lance Campbell. Those guys deserve a lot of credit.
Coach, you said you're looking for leadership at corner. Has a player like KB, has he been that interim leader so far? And at corner, I talked to Coach Ellis, and he said Jamarcus Howard has made strides. Could he be that leader you're looking for?
Yeah, Jamarcus has had a really good summer. He's really improved. We'll see on the leadership deal. We'll see how he responds, when we get started. He's done everything right this summer. He's a really good athlete. He's done a great job out there. He's really improved. I've been really impressed with him. KB is, a great leader. He's with the safeties, but he's the quarterback on the back end. He's got to communicate to all those guys, the other three guys back there, and KB does a great job. He's one of the guys that we lean on as a coach because he does things right. He cares. He's conscientious, so he does a good job back there and is a good leader for us.
Two of the last 3 years, you've played WKU, you've beaten WKU, you've been bowl eligible both those seasons, and WKU got the bowl, you did not. How frustrating is it to see a team that you prove that you were better than on the field, however they get the invite and you don't?
Well, first of all, it's nothing about Western Kentucky. In 2012, when we didn't go to a bowl game, nobody can tell me any difference. We didn't go because we were leaving the Sun Belt and going to Conference USA. Nobody can tell me any different. When you go 8-4 and you did what we did, beat who we did, and, come in second place, play for the conference championship on the last day, and you don't go, there's reasons other than that. So last year, it's not Western Kentucky, it's our own fault. We lost 2 out of those last 3 because we didn't do the fundamental things necessary to win a game. And we turned the ball over at FIU. We turned it over at UTEP. We missed kicks. We didn't tackle extremely well in either game. So, to me, it was disappointing. There's some other 6-6 teams that went to bowl games and we didn't. But at the end of the day, if we just played a little bit better 2 of those last 3 games, we'd have gone. So it's not about Western Kentucky going to a bowl game over us, and we beat them, those times. So I look at ourselves at it.
You mentioned losing 2 of the last 3. Can that be a good teaching tool for you heading into this season?
It has been, and I've talked, every coach probably the same as me. I talk turnovers more than I talk anything. And that's a prime example. We turned the ball over a bunch at FIU and we got beat. We turned it over at UTEP and we got beat. You look at our games, we're I think 17-0. We're 17-0 the last 3 years when we win the turnover battle. We're 0-10 the last 3 years when we lose the turnover battle. So, to me, that's what it's all about. So if they can't learn from that, I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep showing them charts. I'm going to keep showing them statistics. But they saw firsthand last year.
Coach, how much, to touch on that, how much is that FIU game? Do you think about that every day, the end of that every day?
I told people in January, the way we finished last year, 2 of those last 3 games, it wouldn't get, I was going to have a hard time getting over it, and I'll get over it on Wednesday when we report. Watch film, and that any FIU tape comes on, or UTEP, you see that field, I get a sick feeling in my stomach. So yeah, I've got an edge about us, and I know our players do.